world stage. Finding a bit of comfort in that play-in group stage, but now to the play-in knock-ins, the pressure begins to set in. Who will be able to shake it off more? We are into picks and bans for game number 4.
GRX sitting at match point here. And so far, Kaisa certainly has been very powerful in this series. The guys on the desk were talking about it, Sean as well, of course. And, you know, 3 wins in 3 games for Kaisa.
Yep.
But it's not an unbeatable champion. There are ways to play around it. We have seen GRX heavily targeting the Varus, though, from Zeitnot, and we'll see if that actually slips through picks and bans this time around, because that certainly, I think, is a strong answer to the Kaisa if they do elect to leave it up.
Aatrox is already off the list from the hands of Cheshire SuperMassive, and 9 seconds left for this Phase 1 ban. It is going to be that Kaisa finally banned out within this series.
I think we see a first pick Varus then. I wouldn't be surprised to see that going through. It's going to be Rakan, though. Very interesting. So
no Flower wants that Rakan.
I mean, his Rakan is incredible, so I can't really blame him. But Varus has been very, very good for Zeitnot.
I agree with you.
You know, it did get banned out the first couple of games. I think it has a strong laning phase, which could give him a little bit more power down on the bottom side. Yep. They may be happy to play either the Varus or the Xayah. So if Xayah gets taken away here, I think you still can go for Rakan Varus bottom lane if they are looking towards that. I still want to see them stay the course, though, as far as having, you know, tanks on the top side. That has looked much better for Fabulous. Yes. He has not been really a point of power, but he is also not the reason they are losing the games, and that is certainly what he was against G2, as Wunder was dominating him in carry versus carries. So the drafts have certainly improved. We'll see if they do go the way of having GBM playing a more supportive style on the Galio or Zillion, as they were talking about earlier. Galio has been getting a lot of bans in the second phase, but there is the potential to try to grab it up early if they feel that is very important, and it does pair well alongside that Rakan. But we also saw Orianna in game 1 used very well alongside the Rakan here too.
Cheshire SuperMassive selecting blue for this one, and it might be the Lucian lock-in with 13 seconds left. It is for Zeitnot. They say match it up. This might be the jungler for the side of GRX unless they decide to swap these Phase 1 picks against each other. But I was definitely looking for possibly that Galio as well. It's been very big, but GBM's been on the kind of assassin kill train so far this series. Yeah, he definitely has, but he's rode the line a little bit, with the Glacial Augment Ahri trying to play a little bit more of kind of a utility-based style. That is true. They are going to grab up the Ornn, it looks like, here for PK. We are expecting the Lucian to go bot lane for Zeitnot once again, but GBM certainly could flex that over to mid if he feels that the opportunity is right. Lucian still does have potential to go there in the mid lane, but this very likely means Varus could get banned out, or sorry, will not get banned out rather, as they are going to be assuming it's going to the bottom lane. Galio taken away from GBM, as it has been really kind of every second phase in the pick ban, and we'll see if they want to target more of those utility-based champions if they kind of think those could be an issue. Something like Zillion would make sense. Something like the Orianna certainly would make sense as a fairly safe blind pick that pairs well with what they have, speeding up the Olaf, pairing up with Rakan for that other shield in there. Yep, I love it. As well as the jungler going to the wayside for GRX here. They did that last time, and they feel like they can kind of just go for a Zac or if something alike. Empty feels good with the champion pools he's being pushed to so far, which is helping GRX. Yeah, and neither jungler has really ever taken over the early game so far. Right. I think that Stomage did a good job last time getting a farm advantage, but it never really kind of led to anything more than that, so it didn't really end up mattering. And in the case that it's going to be a fairly passive early game jungle style, well, who cares? I mean, you can kind of just interchange Zac, Gragas, Trundle, Olaf, etc. There's a lot of tanks that can kind of fit into that style of play. The Gragas all the way down to second phase this time around, but the Nocturne could be the selection in. Follow up on a lot of that Ornn Horn with a black shield as well for Nocturne. Feels pretty good. It definitely does. Very different style coming out here from Stitch compared to the previous games, where he has been much more about that kind of supportive style jungler rather for Empty. Had been playing mostly tank throughout. He did have the one Nocturne play in play-ins, so certainly can flip that switch and go aggressive. It is going to be that Orianna. As I mentioned, it was played in game 1 with Rakan. Works well for the speed up there onto Olaf. For that guy charging in with the Predator boots popped. We'll
see what the top lane is going to be. Sion is available, so they could go for something along those lines. Cho'Gath is also up. The Sion, I think, makes a lot of sense, though.
For Fabulous, he loves the Sion. Controls that lane, but also could be a big menace in the team fights. The team's discussing it before they lock it in, and now you see the full lineup for Cheshire Supermassive.
Ooh.
What will the final lock-in be on the side of GRX? As we see some quick hovers, but no selection.
They're teasing us. Rise would make quite a bit of sense. A lot of people do like this into Orianna. It does give you some side lane pressure. There's not really any good split pusher on the side of Supermassive, no one that really wants to answer those waves solo. And if you lock in the Rise, you send him to the side lane, you pair that up with a Nocturne who can back you up and look for those 2v1 kills. That's something that Supermassive is going to have to be kind of worried about later. We also have to track the laning phase here for Fabulous, because while he has done fairly well and fairly even in the tank versus tank matchups, if you think back to game 1, it was PK actually getting an early solo kill in the Ornn versus Sion matchup up there in the top lane. So you want to see those mistakes avoided from Fabulous. Allow the Olaf to dictate the early stages of the game, where he should have, you know, that power over the Nocturne, and really need to have a better 2v2 performance from this Lucian this game as well. Last game, they were dying in the 2v2. They were getting ganked, getting picked on. You want to see Zeitnot getting ahead of his opponent, who is playing more of this kind of scaling marksman.
This is the game Supermassive needs to show up. Coming in from the blue side, they wanted that first pick. They wanted that Rakan as it was locked in for Snowflower's initiation. It's what has been able to set GRX off their footing. Will it be able to happen this game? Are we going to a game 5, or will GRX find themselves going to the main stage with their first Worlds appearance ever and a final game win right here in game 4? Supermassive really has their work cut out for them to keep this series alive as we head on to the Rift.
Yeah, both teams looking for that Worlds group's berth, trying to get through that play-in stage. So many teams have fallen short already. These are the last 2 teams remaining, the last 2 teams fighting for that final spot in the group stage of Worlds 2018.
Crazy to think this weekend has already seen 3 teams depart from the world stage, with 3 moving on, and who will be our 4th now to enter into those main stage groups? GRX or Supermassive? We'll find out here if it's in this game GRX, or as I said, Supermassive can punch back to keep it going. To mid lane, Candy on Rise, GBM on the Orianna, Fabulous on that Sion top once again versus PK's Ornn. Stomage and Empty, respectively, on Olaf and Nocturne here. We'll have to see if they can get in each other's face to start things off.
Yeah, you can already see a little bit of a change here from Zeitnot. Not sure if it is because of the issues that they had in the 2v2 last game, but he swapped from TP to heal. Last game, they were down that heal, and it really ended up making the difference in that 2v2 all-in. Obviously, it's not the same champion, so it may just be something where he feels more comfortable playing heal into the Xayah, but either way, is worth noting. It is that Combat Summoner, and both the top laners are playing Grasp. No spellbook there for PK.
And not as easy for Xayah, but you can still get that effective push lane, feathers to the back, pull him back, get those caster minions cleared with Tormented Soil as well. And we should see Snowflower and Zeitnot pushed into the turret just early because of that pressure.
Yeah, it's definitely the case, and that's something that you have to be kind of careful about on the side of Supermassive, as W first from Lucian is not something you see every day. Maybe just really wanted to scout out that brush, but
it is interesting, because then you think, do you want your Piercing Light to farm, or do you want your Relentless Pursuit to get out of the way of a Dark Binding?
I mean, you're not fighting now.
No, you are not at all.
At the very least, you're not fighting till level 3, so not really a fan of the choice. I mean, maybe felt like he needed it because they didn't have vision on the bottom side, so needed to try to scout out to make sure they weren't getting cheesed or anything like that, which I could respect, saying, okay, if that happens, we just lose the series and we're out of Worlds. True. So you take a little bit of a hit there, but oftentimes you're not seeing W until level 4, right? People go Q or E first, and then 2 points in Q, and then W at level 4. So they are going to be pushed pretty far back in that regard.
There's level 2. They have quite a few minions to clear before that comes up for them, and it will be under the turret. So some will be missed, but experience gained, so no worries on the levels, as mirrored side scuttle grab from the junglers as they're just off the edge. Little, if they only knew. They probably do. It's not like they can fight each other anyways. So off and running from those grabs. Wow. I like this a lot. They're just mirroring each other. This is perfect. Damage onto GBM, and that is going to taunt the junglers into the fight. Candy says, no, I am low on mana, and this is not ours to win.
Yeah, they do back off, and you know, Empty was actually level 2 walking into that. He did level up off some of those creeps, but Stomage being level 3 and the Olaf just having a lot more early game dueling power is something that he wanted to be careful about. But now, looking to see if he can get in there for a smite. I don't think Empty will commit to this.
This was much different in our earlier games where we actually saw them being able to push in from the side of GBM. But GBM not having too much control there as Candy was able to push him around. Control in the lane, but not for the fight. Interesting effect there. As you still see Empty harassing Stomage in the jungle. He's going to stay for a while. They have all this pressure on the bot lane, so Zeitnot and Snowflower aren't coming up to help.
Yeah, it's pretty annoying there for the Olaf, but it does look like he eventually is going to get it, and he's fairly ahead on farm. You know, he did actually take an extra camp before he went down to the scuttle, which is why he had a level advantage, and does end up securing that for himself. So, yep, Empty was pretty annoying, but he does end up just kind of falling a little bit behind as far as the pacing in that jungle.
That Ardent Blaze damage really deterring Stitch. Not so much. Stitch is just taking it all. Happy to be up front. 27 to 25, so not too much CS miss. Great job by Snowflower to prep first caster minions early in the game without enough AD. As GBM and Candy farm it out 29 to 19. So even though GBM's been pushing Candy back a bit here, he's doing more fighting than farming.
Yeah, you can see all those pings on a Stomage, so he was spotted as he went over to threaten Candy there. And the roam down from Fabulous gets them another ward in the jungle, so they really want to track Empty, and they look for a fight here.
Black Shield on. Quick hits in the battle dance back from Snowflower as they deal nice damage, advantage in health, bot lane to Supermassive.
Yeah, Stitch took quite a bit of damage there, and Ignite is available, so there is always kill potential if you can catch him, but Stitch still did have his health potion available, so probably can't go for an all-in just yet without kind of working him down a little bit more.
Koala feels much better about the Black Shield on this one. At times better with Grand Entrance. He doesn't have to worry about an Alistar coming in every time he tries to save Stitch. But low on mana, they definitely have to be careful on the side of GRX so they don't get initiated on. PK, face check into the brush, but it's going to just be a back and forth between these two tanks in the early part of the game. PK's already stayed in lane to get a few of those passive builds off of his Ornn Mallet. And he's just farming up at that nice, what I call a 75% mark of your lane. You're not taking too much pressure, but you're not under the turret. Easy CS in there as he's falling behind a little bit, so that's good for him.
Yeah, and it's also basically the safest place you can actually play as a top laner.
Always.
Because if you can hold it outside of your turret, then the wave won't reset and push your opponent. So you really do like to hold it there if you don't have your jungler play on your side of the map. And for a lot of the earlier stages, Empty was on the bottom side, so that's a smart play from the Ornn of PK. And he just really wants to kind of make it through this early game. It's going to be about the engages for him. It's not going to be about this laning phase.
Candy waits in mid, thinking they might actually see jungle head back towards the bottom side. But they should have Raptors figured out on timing. So nothing coming from Candy there. He did ping in. Looks like they're just trying to set up maybe something for down the road. So they can find Stomage back on his bottom side of the jungle. He's heading towards top though, and Candy's got to be careful. GBM has been quite the focus this series for Stomage when he's able to get in with aggression. Predator on and Predator out.
Yeah, that one was a bit ambitious. I don't think anything much was going to really happen there. It's worth a try, I guess, but they're actually going to try to go for the fight here.
Realm Warp will put him in front of GBM, but that could be a Shockwave ultimate to keep Candy in place. Damage down to Stomage. Dragon's going to come up as he is angry about the fight in his den. And here's the Ornn Horn. Blast code over. Oh, what a shot by PK! Eagle Eye Ornn Horn coming through. And Zeitnot tries to deter Koala and Stitch from any more fight.
PK bowls the strike, getting first blood there on the Stomage. That was a nice teleport. You see that coming in, and you're kind of thinking, well, is he really going to be able to do much? And that was a thing of beauty.
Wow. PK been pushed back to his turret all game, says, oh, look, I could get something off of this. And he very much does. He'll be happy to walk back to lane on this. Turret's already pushed up, so the wave's going to come back to him in the end. That is such a great play for the side of GRX.
Yeah, that was honestly fantastic for them. And again, and GRX able to get things going in that early game, despite the fact that Stomage should have the priority in his kind of early levels against Nocturne. Ryze made the faster roam, and the TP came down from his top laner, so StoneMage has no opportunity to really turn and fight.
Oops. Nobody saw that minion miss. 66 to 49, so GBM can't afford to do that too much. He definitely needs to start picking up the gold so he can hit those item clips along with the rest of the team. We did see him kind of have an even lane and come up big with 2 kills in a fight. And that kind of seems to be the way that SuperMassive has been hitting par in the early game. Good in lanes, don't lose to PK and Candy, which is kind of the expectation of coming into this series. And then a wham, bam, thank you, man, when it gets the time to fight. Zeitnot, GBM come up big. We'll see this river fight one more time for your Acer Predator replay.
Yeah, here is the play again. StoneMage flashing over the wall, sees the blast cone, does get tagged with the initial hit, and PK just knows he's going right into the pit. Bowls a strike, gets the first blood, they're loving it.
Awesome to see Toys there as well. World champion himself, Toys from the Taipei Assassins, there to help coach Team GRX now. And it's got to be a lot of wisdom he's able to bring to the team.
Good bit of experience to have on the squad for sure. A lot of these World Championships really does come down to the mental fortitude that it requires actually playing at this stage. You're so far outside of your comfort zone. You're playing against better players, you're playing with a bigger audience, and it really does become very difficult if you don't have a lot of mental fortitude. And people that have experienced that, people that have been through that, like Toys, can help to prepare the players for what they are going to have to deal with on these big stages.
And sometimes it's just hearing it. You know, being nervous is okay right now.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes that's all you need to hear, and it can settle a few of the nerves that you need to make the plays. I can't imagine being at a different setup, different place to cheer of the crowd around you and still having to perform. These guys do it as much as they can, and they've been forced to do it for the past few weeks. Coming up on 10 minutes now, 500 gold lead, small for GRX, but big plays around the map are gonna make them feel good as they get PK going. It's been a very big thing for them. Again, harassing StoneMage at those Raptors, and again, they take them away.
Yep, and while it is not that big of a gold lead, Empty is now 6 on the Nocturne. Olaf hasn't been able to get anything done, really, whatsoever here for the side of SuperMassive, so GRX is going to be feeling good, and they could actually look for a fight here if they want to.
Ragnarok still there. StoneMage knows he can hold it. Not too much damage coming through just yet from the mid lane. His tier being stacked up by Candy still. Not a lot of item spikes to be had, even with all the bits of aggression on the map. Not too many people are falling. Quick cleanup in the clear here. 103 to 86 on that bot line as Zeitnot has picked it up.
Yeah, they really have. They're playing this 2v2 a lot better this time around. You know, getting themselves a CS advantage down there and working quickly towards that Blade of the Rune King. They do have level 6 on Recon now, so if the Black Shield is ever wasted, there is the opportunity to look for those aggressive all-ins.
No ward over the pit just yet. It looks like that will easily go down. A little bit of movement speed for the side of GRX, and this team, they would love to have that. Realm Warps to follow with the Nocturne ultimate, bringing a lot of people to the fight. They can get everywhere and have a very omnipresent global team that can be around the map.
And it's so fun to see really good players using the Realm Warp because there's so many different creative ways you can use it. Obviously, you know, to use the escapes and for the Ryze to chase someone down, but you can also do things like sending the Nocturne and the Ornn into the back line, using that as another way to engage, and all of a sudden the Ornn is coming in from behind you while the rest of the team is charging in front, and it can be very, very disruptive. Just one of those things that it's like, it's really high risk, high reward, right?
Just thinking how silly it would be to have a Nocturne ult, and then you see him come in through Realm Warp.
And then he just does the 1-foot ult where he just kind of dives forward.
I'm here. Here I am. It's those things that you just don't think about, so it works.
Yeah. They'll never expect it.
12 minutes coming up on the clock. And we have yet to see that Nocturne Paranoia actually cry out across the rift and put SuperMassive into fear. Bot lane's pushed up pretty good as Empty's actually coming back out of base, so we may get a little bit more of that fight. Cinderhulk fighter fixed up for StoneMage, as he's now got his warrior enchant fixed up for Empty's Nocturne.
Well, this could be a Four-man bottom side play. They're actually going for 5-man bot,
Holy
but Nocturne and
moly.
Rise are already here.
The reel between the turret teleports coming in from Fabulous. He starts on the enemy side of the map, and it looks like they're gonna have to maybe back out of this one. Fabulous throws down the ultimate as he starts getting out of this. They want to turn away, but it doesn't look like GRX can actually lock down any of the kills anyways. Mistake fixed for now, but SuperMassive losing a lot of pressure to PK on the top side, who has the chance to push or teleport.
Yeah, GRX was just totally ready for that, and the Nocturne ultimate being dropped dissuades a lot of it.
Culling
is getting low.
Culling coming out. That could be another reason for GRX to fight. Stitch uses the heal. Sight now forward a little bit, also uses his heal to get away, and here comes the Oran Horn through one member. They get Sight not even on the flash. Dustbringer doesn't make it, but Candy does. And he picks up his first kill of the game. GRX now 3-0.
Yeah, they get 2 kills off that. The delayed TP coming through from PK. SuperMassive forcing that play way too hard. Stayed around after the initial play failed and trying to get more, trying to make something out of nothing, but not being able to make it work.
Fast activation here after GRX saw that, hey, this is taking SuperMassive a little bit longer than they would like. And that's what we are talking about. It's the small errors that GRX is finding, be that all bigger than a small one, teleporting that far behind this early. But GRX can act on it. Like you said, they were completely ready and to turn the tables immediately.
Yeah, and I mean, they stay around for a really long time. This binding there over on a Snowflower, he just gets CC chained down, taken out, and then the TP has come in from PK. Your support's already gone. That was a perfectly placed Oran ultimate because it covered. If he walks back into the team, he's gone. If he flashes forward, he can't create enough distance to get over it. So PK on these teleports has been 2 for 2 on the ultimates and really having an impact.
Knows how to use his forehead. Knocking those through. Big noggin PK on this Ornn.
Accurate noggin.
Accurate noggin indeed. Ooh, they try to throw down Paranoia, and it will be successful in taking down Zeitnot. They won't be able to get Snowflower, though. Stonemage coming around from the side, almost grabbed Koala in a solo warding situation. But here comes GBM, slowly up the river. This could file into something that SuperMassive wants to continue, as they don't have Candy rotating just yet. Got to remember the Realm Warp, this global team, semi-global, that GRX has.
It really is feeling like SuperMassive is just trying way too hard to force something. It's almost like they think they are just losing the game much more heavily than they are. Yeah. They really were not very behind before that bottom lane play. And then again, here on the top side, Zeitnot is like dashing towards the turret, under the turret, trying to 2v2 them without knowledge of where the Nocturne is.
But he had heal up, so...
He did have heal up.
Yeah, they're going so hard for these plays. You're right.
It just feels like that feels a bit desperate. You know, it feels like they are thinking to themselves, we need to make something happen now. And I don't believe that is really the case. The game is certainly far from over. Orianna has incredibly good scaling. You have double tanks on the top side. You have an explosive engage from your Rakan. Yes, Xayah probably is going to outscale the Lucian, but I don't know. I feel like you could just play a calm game still from here on out and have a good shot to win.
Absolutely. Don't have to worry about PK too much in the bot side. He's kind of facilitating everything for himself. Kills, a solo kill on Fabulous in that first game. And now back onto the Ornn again. Feels like he can just run the map when he has this champion, and we're seeing it here in game 4 on that Ornn for PK. Koala a little too close for comfort. The culling almost killing him, but it's going to be the ignite from Snowflower to come through his Stitch, trying to be that body blocker. Rift Herald picked up by SuperMassive, and they're gonna have a little bit control on the map after feeling like they've been behind.
Yeah, it's nicely done for them. They get the Rift Herald, they get a kill. Really, they're not very behind. They're down 2K, which you know is a significant lead. But if you can pick up a turret with the Rift Herald, you cut that in half. You certainly still are going to have your opportunities. And this is just feeling like the pressure getting to them. Ever since that game 2, they have felt a little bit more fast and loose. They have felt like they are trying to force things where the plays aren't necessarily presenting themselves. And want to see them play a little bit more patient, a little bit more reserved. Wait until those opportunities come to you. Wait until you have vision on the rest of the members, so you know that the play is going to work.
Decent warding by SuperMassive has found its way into the top side of GRX's jungle. GRX has only been able to place one forward ward. A lot of what Snowflower wants to do on this Rakan relies is based on those wards, having vision of one or two members. Koala almost, or I should say, did go down as a result of that just last time. And that's the first kill that SuperMassive was able to get, that one onto Snowflower. Still looking for a few more as they have swapped lanes now and put the marksman top.
Yeah, looking to continue this 2v2 up here. They're still pretty far ahead, you know, as far as the farm goes at least for this Lucian. Both on one item. Empty does have his ultimate back up here, as the observers are showing us, trying to clear out these pockets of vision so he knows where he can ultimate from. SuperMassive should be aware that he's up here, though, and really kind of play with that respect to Nocturne. You can't afford to take these fights. As you said, it's not just the Realm Warp, it's also the Nocturne ults coming in. It's PK and his teleports, which have been so impactful.
It's scary. Nocturne ultimate already onto GBM in the mid lane. They are able to take him down immediately. He doesn't go anywhere. Empty's actually very low. Black shield on. Here comes Fat Fabulous from the far lane. Absolutely decimates him as the Horn comes through. Shield your eyes from the ornographic material. Stowmage is going to be going down. Fat Fabulous may be next as they try to turn the fight. And Zeitnot is just a little too late for the party.
Yeah, the re-engage there was so good from SuperMassive, but Zeitnot was not in position. They didn't have the damage to follow up because GBM went down without getting his shockwave off. Lucian's not there. That's all of your damage, really, and GRX will take another win. 3 kills for just the one. They'll get the mid lane turret. They'll take the dragon, and they are looking really good in essentially this final game.
They find any fight and say, oh, this is ours. Crazy. 2 turrets deep. We have it, even without having placed vision up here anytime recently. Everything's been on their side. They're in for the fight.
Yeah, and it looks like the stopwatch just barely missed time. I believe he actually got stunned by the Morgana ultimate coming out of the stopwatch. So he couldn't actually get, you know, his shockwave off. And unfortunately for him, it's a really tough timing because the Nocturne Fear was also there, so you have to kind of work in between those. And this was a great re-engage. If Lucian was there at the same time, I think they can win that fight. Unfortunately, he was nowhere to be seen, but they do now drop the Rift Herald. They get 1 turret. They're trying to push up and look to threaten a second. We'll see if they go too far.
EK is trying to stay on the front line. Searing charge backwards means he loses a bit of that ground movement that he could get back into the fight with. Candy just on the end. Horn is about to come off a cooldown. PK could use it. Fires up the Horn and he slams down the mallet. In goes Empty and he tries to get the kill, but he could fall. Empty stays alive. They've got Stowmates on the run now as Zeitnot and Fat Fabulous try to run down mid lane. GBM's already been wiped out of the fight. There's the grab onto Stowmates. Oh, he puts himself back into the frying pan. And he's cooked up with the rest of the team.
Yeah, Stowmage goes down, so does GBM. Another great engage here from GRX. They're pinging over towards Baron. Not sure if they're gonna want to start it up. It is very early in the game to do so, but if you get the Baron now, the game could very well just be yours, and they're gonna make the call to go for it. Stowmage still down. Empty is running out on the map. Doesn't have Smite just yet, but it's looking like SuperMassive may be too late to challenge.
Fat Fabulous is gonna try his hardest to get in here. Dark Binding is nice, but Snowflower still wants to crowd control the team. He has his quickness. He can get in and charm them up and at least deter the fight. Zeitnot trying to put damage onto PK. Gets hit by the Dark Binding. Koala is hitting true, but he's out of mana now. He can't offer too much.
In there.
Well, 1,700 on the Baron. Fat Fabulous is low. That's going to be a smite for Empty, and they do grab Baron.
The Rise ult!
Koala's left out to dry, but that's all right for GRX.
So well done there by GRX, buying so much time, escaping with that Realm Warp. I mean, that was like a 20-minute, 30-second Baron start. They do it in the face of SuperMassive, and
it took a while.
SuperMassive a little too hesitant to actually commit to the fight. I don't know if you can actually afford to give up that much this early. Zeitnot was very nervous to enter the fight. Clearly didn't want to actually get CC'd up and knocked down, but there are a lot of low health bar here, and maybe he could have actually committed forward. And here's the engage one more time. The root, Nocturne goes in onto Lucian. Zeitnot barely able to get away as Empty does get taken out here. I do believe Empty did escape just barely.
Yep.
And Stowmage did get chased down. And this is what prompted the start of the Baron. Not sure if we're actually going to get to see that as just accepts his death as he's bound up, would have gone down. And here is Baron one more time. So this is kind of the point I'm talking about. With Binding on cooldown, I feel like Zeitnot just needs to go for something. You need to try to get in and actually commit to the play. see if you can make something happen, but they wait a long time. That actually went to 40 health after the smite. That could have been a fabulous auto attack steal.
Oh, would it have been fabulous too, Azale? Oh, it would have been.
I really can't help but wish Zeitnot got in there a little bit more aggressively to try to force that, but it was very well done by GRX. They make the risky call, they get out.
And that catapults them.
Yeah, I mean, they're 6K ahead with the potential to pick up a few thousand more gold very easily with this Baron power play.
Deep breaths from SuperMassive as they try to look for a window, a possible opening to split the composition of GRX and find themselves on the other side of the rift. Right now, it's been a very one-sided game, with only 2 turrets in favor of SuperMassive, as GRX has now taken out the outer ring, looking at only second tiers, and we're 23 minutes into the game with Baron. 1 minute and 25 seconds left in a power play for GRX. Look at him sitting in the jungle waiting to get these picks.
Exactly, Empty is kind of sitting in the spot where he can respond with an ultimate both to mid lane and top lane. And this is the setup I talked about a lot earlier, where Ryze goes to a side lane, he pushes out. There's no one that can really 1v1 match the Ryze. And if you try to go for a 2v1, well, Nocturne ults in and stops that. And if you try to posture too aggressively, well, they 2v1 dive you. Yeah. So that is very tough for SuperMassive to properly respond to, and it really does take a hard engage somewhere else to really decisively win a fight, or to do that on the Ryze. And either way, it's probably going to take Snowflower finding a perfect engage for them to get a kill and then respond to the other side of the map.
Very quick around the horn, only leaving mid, second tier up. And that's already at half health. Baron minions are coming in. This is a hell of a Baron power play. Oh my God, Fabulous could go down. Use a stopwatch. It's going to be a wanted in from Snowflower. And here comes Empty for the paranoia. Ornhorn going all the way through the fight as PK cannot get it back in for the knockup, but it's not going to deter them from going under the turret. They do get sight knocked down immediately. Fabulous doing what he can to stop the rest of the fight, but the turret is in the eyes of GRX now as PK goes forward with a double searing charge knockup on a GBM and Snowflower. Snowflower with the ability to go back in now on his grand entrance and battle dance out, but they have to be wary of what they take. Candy's been on the top side, clearing inhibitors by himself.
Yeah, Candy takes down that turret. It was such a nice flash binding there from Koala. Point blank, lands it onto Zeitnot. And when Zeitnot goes down, no hope of SuperMassive holding that tower any longer. They're losing so much gold on this Baron power play. Now up to 11,000 gold advantage with 2 exposed inhibitors. These guys are gonna face, they're gonna buy up their items, and Stitch is just at such a ridiculously strong point in the game.
We'll see this again.
Yeah, so here it is one more time, the initial play over onto Fabulous. The stopwatch was well used there to buy some time, but a really nice Xayah ultimate, buying him space. And yes, he does get charmed up after the ultimate expires, but he's already created enough space and there's no follow-up to come through to actually get over onto him. Then watch this flash here from Koala, point blank, around the minion, right onto the Lucian. That was a thing of beauty from the Morgana support. That nets them another inhibitor turret, buying time for Candy up on the top side as well, and GRX are 1 fight away from getting through play-ins, for making it to groups.
Some would say raise your koalas.
Raise your koalas.
After a play like that, in a different way. But Koala coming up big for his team. And you got to think, look at the participation scores across the board for GRX. Everybody's had their hand in the pie. Everyone's participating, and Zeitnot is getting a little hyphy as they want to solidify some kills. They say GRX has taken too much. Airborne knocked up, knocked down is Koala as he gets a taste of his own medicine. Candy and PK from the other side now. Empty puts himself in the frying pan. No, he's going to go down to the GA. Zeitnot's on the right side of the fight. Eyes onto him as he tries to deliver in the Lucian damage. A great kill onto Empty coming in from GBM, and Stitch is looking for his targets. Not even afraid of a 2v1. Fabulous falls into Scion death form, and Stitch able to push the rest of the members of SuperMassive out. Down goes Snowflower.
And this could do it. We'll see. They're actually not even going to try to push the base.
They won't. Nope.
They're just taking an inhibitor, and wow, I'm actually really surprised they're not even going to try to go straight for those inhibitors. At the very least, they will take the Infernal. They're trying to play it calm and collected, and right before that fight, Stitch bought an entire IE. He had that much gold in his bags.
I didn't know we had coupons in League of Legends.
He is ridiculously strong. So here it is one more time.
Let's see this.
Ornn down on the bottom side, Rise up on the top side. They need to force an engage. So in goes Zeitnot onto Empty. Another nice binding from Koala to buy time. Great stopwatch there to actually buy some more. And then Stitch trying to fight this out. 1v4 situation here, pulling the feathers back through, gets a lot of members low, and as Candy and PK arrive, in goes Empty, trying to buy time for the rest of the team. And the shockwave does come out here from GBM, catches 2, finishing off Empty, but Stitch is just running through them.
Stitch just barrels through, and you can see how scared Zeitnot is at that moment.
Yeah, I mean, Stitch is ridiculously strong right out of the fight.
Oh my god!
He upgrades the IE with the Ornn upgrade there, so the Infernal Infinity Edge
just
is completed.
Under triple the damage of Zeitnot.
Yeah, I mean, he's ridiculous. And if you chase him into a corridor like that, the feathers getting pulled through are just devastating. So Stitch certainly putting on a hell of a performance here. Thousands of gold ahead of his opponent. One team fight away from ending this. They have control around Bear. They want to play it safe. They want to play it smart. So they're going to look to try to get a pick and then go to Bear. Look at Snowflower on this side. You can see he was hoping that
where my eyes are.
Would kind of push up, and he could try to find that engage. Because really, to win a fight from 12,000 gold down, it needs to be an incredible engage.
Do you feel like this is necessary, Azale?
I don't know. They feel like they can turn, I think, for the fight. And I think they're not going to commit fully to the Baron. PK's tanking it up, so they're trying to bring SuperMassive over to them. And they may just run up to the top lane and push that down.
Who's going to make it to base first? Who's faster? SuperMassive might want to get on the defensive side of this play. GRX is able to route them now down the left side. Base gate's going to be opened up by Fabulous, so they have a bit more of an entrance in. Zeitnot's already there to defend. And it's just going to be a slow defense. GRX is now going to play the yo-yo game until they get SuperMassive where they want them.
It's minions in the bottom lane, though, that Fabulous has to respond to. So a beautiful Realm Orb right over to Baron.
Teleports there. There's wards all over for Fabulous to get in. Eyes on Stomage for the back line. Where's Snowflower going to go to the back line with his quickness? Horn goes out but doesn't do too much damage. Koala is taking a hell of a lot of damage to start. PK is not in a good spot. And so far, so good for SuperMassive to find the fight that could become in the next few seconds. Fabulous is going to be the first one here to get some face checked in. They don't have a lot of vision to do this, so it's a very haphazard walk-in for this initiation for Zeitnot. He is in the face of Candy, almost two-shot by the machine gun mage. Candy gets out alive. Quickness is used. Huge battle dance and entrance there as GRX can now re-look at the fight. Big damage from Stitch. Zanya's onto Stomage as he is forced to use a bit of that utility. It looks disgusting, Azale. A clinic here from GRX if they can win the fight, but it is going to be Candy shut down first. Fabulous trying to deny PK, trying to deny Stitch. Koala 200 HP from going down, and it looks like SuperMassive has turned the tide of the fight. PK is going to go down, and GRX is looking sore on this one.
SuperMassive against the odds and kite out the fight. Such good positioning, such strong presence of mind there to play that calm through those tense moments, and they get 2 kills. They're the ones going for the Baron here. Empty is alive with Flash. He could look to steal it. Stitch is here as well, and he is ridiculously strong.
An amazing series of absorbing whatever GRX could throw at them. And now, 30 minutes in, SuperMassive start the Baron for themselves with GRX and 3 members on the side. Featherstorm dodging out on the dissonance move coming in from GBM, denies quite a bit of the damage, and Empty will follow the team back to their base.
The minions are going to get the inhibitor in the bottom lane. Huge wave up in the top lane here as well. GRX do stave them off, but oh my god, this game is close. You would not believe that that was from a 12,000 gold deficit.
Absolutely. It's not even that GRX is giving the respect. It's that GRX taunted Baron and then actually didn't know how to deal with SuperMassive.
And SuperMassive is just taking the respect. They're saying you must respect our team fighting ability. You must respect our chance in this game. They are finding windows where they can look for picks. Snowflower going over onto Candy, pushing him out of the fight. The whole team grouping back up, but it's GRX once again on the Baron, and this is dying so fast.
SuperMassive, if Snowflower is there, it's a possibility. The quickness charms everyone up. Right now, it is literally the best tool they have to stop all damage towards Baron, to get SuperMassive into the fight. And if Snowflower can get in, there's a very good chance each time.
But it's so hard now for SuperMassive. No teleport available. The bot lane is going to be pushing in with super minions. Good calling out of the Koala, though.
Down to half HP.
Does get him low, so SuperMassive have to make a play now. You either go bottom, answer that wave, GRX will start Baron, or you try to force Baron on 5v5 immediately, and that's so hard to do from this monumental gold deficit. So they're gonna send people down to bottom lane to try to push that out.
And we're getting...
That means GRX will go right back to Baron.
It's getting close to the impossible Elder Drake as well. If that's a fourth Infernal in favor of GRX, that's a forced fight for SuperMassive as it comes up.
Yeah, definitely could be, but at this point, when you're that far down, maybe you just give it. You're living on a hope and a prayer at this point anyway. You need to have a fight that you have vision around, that you know what is coming, and they at least know that GRX has not started the Baron yet. You can see Rise is getting sent down to the bottom side of the map. He may be tasked with pushing this wave in and actually pressuring some of those turrets, some of that base down to the bottom side, because he has his teleport available and Fabulous does not.
The ward wars are in. And the way a ward war usually works is you place yours, muddle about, and lose that area. There's a lot more wards in the inventory of GRX, so that they go up for a long time fight right now, that vision can be won by GRX. The small things definitely coming into play this late in the game, as I'm looking at summoner spells up as well. A few flashes and heals on each side about to come up, and probably before that next fight.
Yeah, you always have to keep track of the vision, keep track of those summoner spells. They mean so much going into these late game fights where one mistake could decide this entire series, send a team home from Worlds. And Empty is onto the Infernal. But SuperMassive doesn't have the ability to challenge us. They don't have vision in the area. They don't have, the knowledge of where everyone is. And if you step forward and have one bad fight, the game ends just like that. So they need to pick their moment, and they're gonna try to look for a fight where they at least have vision, where they at least know what's going on. But it's GRX onto the Baron once.
Whoa, they started with 3. They actually have Candy on the bot side to teleport in on this one, and he can't get Fabulous can't get there. Teleports down for him. Ornhorn comes out. They got 2 into the choke point on the bot side of jungle. But here comes the rest of SuperMassive on the backside. A nice hit up by PK in the searing charge. And a very much resurrecting Zeitnot, trying to stay alive as he gets himself back up. Relentless pursuit to safety as PK will now take down Snowflower, and this could be it, Azale. A fight on 2 fronts.
They're TPing in the base.
Could not handle. That's going to be Stomage going down. GRX looking great inside the base of SuperMassive. Unstoppable as he gets into the base. Fabulous stays alive as he can give one last ounce of breath with Zeitnot to defend the Nexus. GRX looking to move on to the main stage. 18-8 in one of the bloodiest series we've had as teams try to make it. Fabulous low, but it is GRX, Stitch, Koala, and PK to put the finishing touches on the game. They know they've got it. They're padding the stats. GRX has to feel fantastic in their first ever appearance at Worlds. They're going to be making it to the main stage. SuperMassive doing everything they can to stop them, but it'll never be enough. GRX is moving on.
And what a series from the LMS third seed, 3-1, battling back in multiple games, getting stronger and stronger throughout the showing, throughout the day. They really did earn it here, and Stitch has put on such an incredible performance throughout the group stage, throughout the knockout stage here today against Zeitnot and Snowflower.
And what a lane that was to watch. I cannot wait for what the rest of Worlds has for us. Hot damn!
We're just getting started, Rim.
Game so far. What a series. SuperMassive almost pushing it to 5. But the team on your screen, GRX, will be making it to the main stage here at Worlds, one step closer to the Summoners Cup.
Yeah, and now it's up to decide which group they will be entering into and how far they can go, as you say. This is just the beginning of their journey, and a bright future for a lot of these young players here coming onto the stage, performing very well. LMS third seed did not make it into the group stage at Worlds last year round. They got knocked out in the play-in this time. GRX makes no mistake about that. 7-1 throughout the play-in event, including the knockout stage. A very good performance from them, but honestly, this series felt a lot closer than the scoreline will show you, because it's a 3-1 on paper, but SuperMassive, they were this close to sealing game number 2. They would have been up 2-0, and you can look at a totally different series, a totally different mindset going into that game.
I think it's a lot closer than what the end game tells you, but also the stats coming in by the numbers were in favor of GRX. For what an awesome showing from SuperMassive here on the world stage. For more on today's action and to cover the group draw, let's head over to Shocks and Friends for World's Cooldown.
Thank you very much and welcome everyone to World's Cooldown, where we will look back on the teams that prevailed through play-ins and predict how they'll perform in groups before we call it a night. Just some final words maybe on that best of 5. We saw GRX makes it in the end, but it was hard fought.
Yeah, I mean, this was, I think, the most evenly matched. I think other games might have gone back and forth more, but these were like closer, it felt like in gold, where it wasn't like a 6K gold lead that one team wins and the next game someone gets 6K.
Yeah, and I felt like two teams really learned something. I thought SuperMassive got much better drafts. The 2 players really came out shining. I thought Fabulous looked a lot better going out of the series. And then if you look towards GRX, I really did like the fact that their team fights got much better. PK was a standout for me alongside Sketch, so I really like the team fighting there.
Yeah, I definitely feel like Candy underperformed a little bit, I think, because I was expecting more from him out of GBM, and GBM did a really good job, so not to take away from Candy.
No,
I just thought he would have done a little bit better with Empty, and they ended up not being nearly as much of a focal point as the bottom lines.
Unfortunately for TCL and for SuperMassive, they are out. GRX is in. As said, we will go over to the group draw in just a little bit, but I thought let's spice things up before we get there. So I asked my analysts to make a power ranking of the teams that advanced out of the play-ins. 1, 2, 3, 4. Simple enough. But let's see if there are some interesting opinions, and I feel like Raz will have some. So show us your ranking.
What you got?
Oh, perfect. So for me, I have number 1 being Edward Gaming. That one seems very obvious.
Ooh.
GRX coming in at second. I felt like they already had the stronger players. They just had to prove to me that they are better team fighters as well. Their team fighting really proved it for me today, going up against really tough opponents in SuperMassive as well. Then I had Cloud9 and then G2 Esports. I thought both teams really underperformed in their own series. I thought G2 had great talent in the top side. Both Jankos and Wonder really sold it for me, but for Cloud9, I thought there was more direction in their team fighting.
Does this mean directly you equate this with EDG will have the most success going into groups, GRX the second most, C9 more, and then G2 the least?
Yes, but remember they're being put in different groups. But congratulations, C9. You got yourself the 3rd place out of the 4, but I think they had the hardest group out of everyone.
And they also end up in the hardest one.
I don't hate Raz's ranking. I thought that was very kind to C9.
So what changes do you have? Let's take a look at Mark's.
All right, let's see what they do with mine. I had a couple interesting selections. There we go. That's what I had. So yeah,
I like this.
EDG by far the best team in play-ins. They look like a team that could actually get out of one of the groups they're getting placed in. I feel like the other 3 are going to have a really, really, really tough time getting out.
How come you were so different and then you're thinking, like, because it's completely opposite of what Raz had for the bottom 3?
So for me, G2 has a consistent power point in Wonder that, like, I feel like he is the best Western top laner and can go toe-to-toe, it feels like, against some of the best Eastern top laners, Korean, Chinese, whatever it is. And so I have a lot of faith in that, and I think that they can figure. It feels like everyone here is still figuring out their drafts, and it's nice that they had this extra bit of playing time that maybe they can go in a little bit more prepared. But having a consistent, skill-wise PowerPoint that matches up is really impressive to me. Whereas I felt like GRX and C9 don't really have anyone that, like, when you're talking like top 20 worlds lists, you know, I don't think they really have anyone on them, to be honest.
But for the rest, you think they're pretty close? I mean, the GRX, maybe we had expected them to come out a bit more convincing today. I think even though as the series went on, they definitely found their strengths.
Right, yeah, and so we have GRX and G2 completely flipped with C9 third in the middle. I think what's making C9 weird for us is, like, the drafts were so random. A little bit, where it's like they're just not taking Kai'Sa all of a sudden and picking Draven Thresh when Kai'Sa's up. So that was hard for me, but, like, I didn't see the explosiveness I was expecting to see out of GRX. It felt like they really struggled to find definitive plays.
You know what? But that's a really good subject already, and what people rely on going into a larger main stage. Where you look towards a very direct strength in Wonder. And I think that Wonder is going to perform very well going up against the top-tier talents, perhaps in either Group A or Group C, wherever he gets drawn in. But the team play that I saw from GRX, I think, is going to prove not devastating. I think that teams are going to have to, like, they're going to be able to deal with it. But it should make them competitive if they once they get put into Group D.
I would agree that G2 might have had the worst team play that I saw and relied very heavily on brute forcing those games through. But I think they also have a lot of things that they can improve on, whereas, like, I don't know GRX's ceiling, which is what concerns me.
I think that's a good point. We do have a little more time before we get over to the draw. So just maybe as an end overview of the play-ins, a viewer might look at this and say, hey, all the major regions, or the regions that were expected to advance, advanced in the end. And I'm inclined to say, well, it was pretty damn close for some of those, but was it really more than last year? And what is your guys' vision on that?
I thought it was a lot more competitive. And I remember coming into this, let's use an example. Cloud9, Reaper said that this would be a good thing. They talked about the fact that this would give them the experience necessary to be ready for a main stage. And I think they got exactly that.
Yeah.
Because they were very damn close based off of a Game 5 victory over Gambit.
Maybe cutting it a bit too close for comfort in terms of
close
training.
to not even making it to the main stage.
Yeah, they were definitely cutting it close, but when I saw their Game 5 draft, I was like, oh, what a great Game 5 draft they won.
Yeah.
They kind of steamrolled over. So it's hard to say, and hopefully they're learning what drafts are good for them. But it was much closer than last year, where every Pool 1 team in their best of 5 basically smashed. EDG was 3-0, I believe. Fnatic was 3-0, and C9 was 3-0. And I think SuperMassive was the only one that was a 3-1. And they were coming up from an emerging region that had managed to upset the 3rd seed HKA.
So here we go, then. We've got the draw. Of course, we have 2 seeds already that we know where they will end up. But we will go through with the group draw to make sure that everything is in order. There we go, then.
Yep, so we already know for sure that C9's Group B and GRX's Group D. They're still going to draw them.
Yeah. And I'm also a little confused exactly as to who is drawing, and for Shy is currently drawing. And oh yeah, now I recognize him. It was hard to see. So you cannot enter a group where there are already a team from your region in it. That's why we still go through the draw. There we have GRX, which will bounce through and automatically get put in the Fnatic Thunder Thieves IG group.
Yep, and so we kind of knew this one was coming, and I'm sure we'll get into breaking down all the groups for now, but I do think even heading into that group, they do feel like the underdogs, perhaps with 100 Thieves. We'll have to see how they match up.
It just makes it really fun watching the group play out. 100 Thieves, Fnatic, GRX, that all will seem up in the air. For me, the standout team is going to be Invictus Gaming, Rookie coming out. But Candy versus Rookie seems like already a pretty cool matchup to see.
Yeah, I wish there was a more like definitive through line for this group about like what matchups you want to see, because obviously you want to see the Shy, then you want to see Caps, you want to see probably Afro or Someday in the top lane, and for GRX, probably Candy or Empty. So there's not quite all of them stacked up in the same spot.
And just to be clear, if C9 or G2 get drawn out, that means they go in Group A, I believe. That would be the first one up on the slate. And there we have.
There we go.
Oh, G2 gets what they did not want, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. I think they wanted to match up versus Team Liquid, actually, and KT and Mad. However, I do believe, I'm just going to wait on confirmation, because there we go, in Group A with the Freak of Freaks, Flash Wolves, and Buffalo.
And remember hearing the interview talking about, I think it was Wonder that said it, hearing rumors about Hwangwoo, Buffalo, not necessarily wanting to go up against them, because remember, this is a Vietnamese squad that is going to be aggressive, has a great top laner. And if you look towards Flash Wolves and Afrika, enough said, the top side of the match for a lot of these teams are going to be impressive.
This is a weird group to me, because
it's very odd.
Depending on how much you're buying into the hype, it's either impossible or it's very doable, because Hwangwoo, I've heard people say like, oh, they could be the top 4 team. So I'm going to hold my breath on Group A for now.
There we go with EDG, who will be placed into the group with Team Liquid, Mad, and KT. And that now becomes such a hard group for any team there, but I would say mostly for Mad and TL.
Yeah, I mean, TL definitely, NA fans collectively groaning when they see EDG joining their group, especially with how dominant they looked in the plains.
I mean, we knew it was coming, but when you then see it in the actual group graphic, you're like, all right, it's sinking in. This is not going to be easy. And just to make sure, this should, of course, be Cloud9, who will get updrawn, as it was written in the stars, into the group of death with Gen.G, RNG, and Vitality.
So people were all watching plans to see how it'd shake up, if there would be that extra team. Maybe GRX would be taken out of the equation. An extra play-in team comes in. So at least there's some hope for North America, and for Cloud9 in particular. Cloud9 is going to be put in a really rough position. I think they come out with a very clear condition, pretty early game heavy. I want to see how they fare up against Gen.G and RNG, 2 great team fighters. They could make a break for it in the early portions of the game.
Alrighty, so yeah, what's our first reactions? I think, of course, we kind of would have, or NA fans would have hoped that EDG would have gone to the other side, but yeah, it's going to be very tricky in that group.
I mean, in that sense, all of the West is kind of upset, because I think a lot of people would on the European side, prefer G2 to go up against Team Liquid as a chance to get out of Group C. And at the same time, Team Liquid fans feel the same way. They would prefer G2 over EDG. So no matter what, I think the West is a little disappointed in the group draw.
Yeah.
That being said, one thing that I really like about Team Liquid as a team, if you hear from Doublelift a lot of the times, they're a team that never, like the whole never give up attitude. Like if they are in a deficit, they're a team in North America that can claw their way back in. And remember, the whole issue with Edward Gaming and internationals in the past has been playing a little bit more relaxed when they have a large lead. So for me, that's going to be the matchup to watch in that group.
Yeah, let's maybe start by talking now that we have already about that Group C. So as said already, TL, Tricky, then EDG. With the things that you've seen from EDG and as the LPL expert and that one stumble versus Infinity, do you think this could come back to bite them and to haunt them in a group like this, or do you think they match up pretty good?
Remember, Team Liquid are great team fighters.
Yeah.
So I think that the whole comeback mechanic is still there. So that being said, if we're just talking about a lane by lane, I would give EDG the edge, specifically the mid lane. I think that Scout versus Pobelter is something that we should watch out for because Scout's just been incredible during the play-in stage. Really was in a league of his own, and he should have just fit really well in the main stage. So mid lane jungle is something we're going to be watching out for. Perhaps Xmithy's going to be able to come out because he is the best Western jungler. I know a lot of people are going to be having a debate between him and Broxa. But currently, I thought Xmithy is performing very well for himself. So it's going to be mid lane jungle oriented. I think bottom lane is everyone wants to see the matchup between iBoy, Doublelift, Mako, Ole, if that ends up going well. But I think EDG should have the early game. And we'll see how the team fights end up because EDG has been kind of opened up in team fights regionally.
I feel like we're completely glossing over KT because we already know that they're like, we don't need to talk about it.
Jad said yesterday that he has them pegged as the winners of the World Championship, which is of course not a very controversial opinion at that. But yeah, it seems like, is it really that clear cut to you? Is it all for the number 2, or do you think EDG should be logically the team that is most likely to get it, even though we don't know the relative strength level of Mad at all?
Mad's a bit of the question mark to me, but after seeing GRX get through in the play-ins relatively convincingly, I do have a bit of hope for them to put up a good fight against all these teams.
Final note before we go over to the interview, sorry, is TL getting out of this group then?
I say no unless EDG does what they did in 2017.
All right.
I would say no as well, but for Mad, people should look towards, once again, Kongyu and the mid lane jungle synergy. I think that should be something to look for, but they have it rough in this group. They would come out last.
All right, we'll go over the next, or the other groups in just a second, but for more on the win of GRX earlier, I would like to hear from Avali and one of their players.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with GRX's Candy. Congratulations on that close series. Now, I really want to point out your career because you have come such a long way in just the past year. You went from failing to qualify for the LCK in spring with CJ Entis to now moving on to the group stage of Worlds. So please tell me a little bit about your journey and what this moment really means to you.
네, 우선 승리 정말 축하드리고요. 우선 커리어적인 것에 대해서 여쭤보고 싶은데 CJ 엔투스에서 정말 승격을 못하는 그런 아픔도 겪고 나서 지금은 월드 챔피언십 그룹 스테이지에 진출하셨습니다. 이 긴 여정이 어떤 의미를 갖고 있을까요?
일단은 제가 프로게이머 생활을 하면서 3번의 승강전을 했는데 다 떨어져가지고 그런 걸 겪다 보니까 약간 안 될 그건가 그런 생각도 많이 안 좋게 많이 생각했는데 GRX라는 팀에 들어가게 돼가지고 이렇게 롤드컵까지 진출해서 정말 너무 뜻깊은 것 같아요.
So during my pro gamer career, I've been to 3 promotions. Every time I failed, so the negative thoughts like should I just give up always got me. But after joining GRX, now I am the group stage, so it's so happy.
And the team seemed a little bit nervous coming into today's games, but when it came down to it, it looks like everyone stepped forward, and especially you, almost the star of the show on so many different champions. So really, how did everyone manage to stay calm and take the close series?
사실 경기 전에 GRX 선수분들이 조금 긴장된 그런 모습도 보였고 특히 캔디 선수는 정말 주인공 역할인 여러 챔프를 많이 하셨는데 그럼 팀원 전체적으로 어떻게 그런 긴장감을 좀 잘 컨트롤하고 경기 임하셨나요?
사실 다른 팀원들은 모르겠고 저는 오늘 좀 긴장을 했어요. 왜냐면은 BO5랑 그 많이 최소 3판 이상 해야 되는 경기인데 거의 1년 동안 해본 적이 없어가지고 왜냐면은 그 LMS 정규 시즌 때는 저 다른 미드 정글에 한 명 더 있어가지고 그래가지고 이번에 좀 긴장을 했는데 되게 팀원들이 실수할 때마다 좀 다독여줘가지고 잘 할 수 있었던 것 같아요.
So basically, I was nervous before game because it was best of 5. It means I have to play at least 3 games, and he has never experienced it in the past year because he always had the submit laner, so he never experienced it in the LMS league. But today he was so nervous. But every time he made mistake, all the teammates were like, "It's okay, you're doing good." So he was able to kind of keep calm and chill and move on.
Will you be moving back to best of ones in the group stage, in which you will be placed into Group D along with 100 Thieves, Fnatic, and IG? So what do you really think are the strengths of that group, and how are you going to match up?
네, 이제 그룹 D에 편성돼서 다시 단판제를 치를 건데요. IG, 프나틱, 100 띠부즈를 만날 겁니다. 네, 그 전력을 어떻게 생각하시고 또 거기서 어떻게 활약하실 것 같은가요?
사실 되게 힘들 것 같아요. 되게 힘들 것 같지만 그래도 최선을 다해서 몇 세트라도 따내는 게 저희한테는 좀 의미 부여가 좀 될 것 같아요.
I can say it's gonna be a big challenge, but I want to get as many victories that I can get.
Well, Candy, thank you and the best of luck to you. That's it for us here. Back to you.
Thank you very much. There are some words from Candy, how nervous they actually were. And I mean, we talk so statistical and a narrative about these players, but at the end of the day, you know, it's such a huge thing for those players to get to the group stage. You said, well, often we failed or we didn't make it, I got subbed out or whatnot. Wonderful that they did it for GRX and the LMS.
At the end of the day, it's a little weird, but it is a very human sport still, even though we're a step removed playing through keyboards and mice, and you don't see them but more than on the player cams, but they really do, you know, get those gut-clenching moments. We've heard about Jensen and all these other guys, Perks, they all get nervous.
Yeah, and it will happen all again for the group stage. So let's continue with our discussion about the groups, and let's go now from Group A through the rest that we haven't talked about yet. So let's start with Africa Freaks, Flash Wolves. I have a hard time pronouncing Pyeongbu Buffalo and G2 Esports. So then, let's start with what we've seen most recently, G2's performance throughout play-ins and the best of 5 and how they will do in this group.
So I think we saw enough to say that they're a great top laner. This is what I want to see. I want to see Wonder go up against Keen, who I think is probably the best top laner in the East. So we got East versus West there. I'm really excited about that. The rest of the team feels pretty up and down. Hjarnan stepped up a couple times today, but also lost some of his lanes. Same with Perks as well. Jankos was either ineffective or had some great early games. All around, I think the thing that defines this group for me is like how erratic it could be. Because Africa Freaks were sometimes up and down in their own region. Vietnam as a whole is just sometimes absolutely crazy. And then you have
Pyeongbu Buffalo.
No.
Oh, no, you just mentioned them. Flash Wolves.
Flash Wolves.
It's a lot of teams.
Historically, sometimes choke at Worlds. They didn't get out last year. They were 1-5, and the one win they had was the upset win. So, like, this group, from how people are hyping it up, will be very difficult, but I could easily see a world where it goes completely the other direction.
I would say group stage-wise, just before you get into Flash Wolves at MSI, surprised, I think, many with how they cleaned up and with some of the new members, how they came into the best of ones. So they should be a fierce competitor.
For me, Betty is going to be that member because that's what we saw was a stand-up performer at MSI for Flash Wolves. And so Betty versus Hjarnan is going to be a point that we should watch out for. And I think that now that the team has really gone back towards MMD, I want to see what the style looks like for the team, that they're going to be playing towards more team fighting around Maple in the mid lane, and then maybe a lot more around Betty. It's a lot more standard play that we're seeing from them. So I think Flash Wolves and Africa Freaks are the go-to. And with Keen, I just want to see what he's willing to pick in the top side. I know a lot of people are just bored as hell seeing Aatrox and Urgot. Maybe he just conforms, but when it comes to Keen, he is much more willing to go towards like a carry top.
Quinn, whatever he's feeling.
Craziness.
Fiora is an option lately, so I want to see if that's something he picks up.
Gut feeling without seeing any games, it does feel like an Africa Freaks Flash Wolves getting out there, or do you guys disagree?
I think so, just based off the recency of what we saw out of Flash Wolves at MSI and the fact that they continue to do extremely well in their own region. But they do historically do well at MSI and then do poorly at Worlds, but I don't want to lean too far into that. I do think that those are the two favorites.
Let's move over to Group B, the impossible one to predict, honestly. Gen.G, RNG, Vitality, and Cloud9.
I just don't know who's going out of this one.
I feel like they have to make a joke out of it because Gen.G and RNG are so good. But I think that for RNG, I think we can definitely still say that. Also the MSI winners and whatnot. I'm obviously not counting Gen.G out at all, but it is, again, that story of like coming through the gauntlet and not being at the top of their game yet. They did that last year as well, and then they won the World Championship. So what are we thinking?
I think that while I will go the same track and say that Gen.G and RNG will come out of this group, this is usually the type of group that messes people up in their pick'ems. Because you have Vitality and Cloud9 that are both crazy teams early on in the game. Like if they come in with Blabber, and I think they should, and if Vitality with their same playstyle, if Jizuke comes off, and I think he will, then these games, they will get games. There will be no 0-6. You know, clip it right now. There's no team going in 0-6 on this
But
group.
at best, we're looking at a 2-4 for the Western teams?
Yes, and so I think that consistency in team fights will be what Gen.G and RNG provide, and they'll come out. But this is going to be a crazy group.
For now, a realistic yet depressing reality for Western teams. Mark, do you have any good news
At least
for
we
us?
have fun. We can pull out the popcorn.
Yeah.
It's not going to be end too.
You have some good news for us or what? What's going on?
What you got?
No, nothing. Really racking my brain.
Well, well, possibly. Let's go over to Group D then. So, Fnatic, 100 Thieves, IG, and GRX. Now, with the addition of GRX, I think this was already a cool group. This is like a cool group because you have a lot to build off of, but I think there's more uncertainty than in the other groups. And I say that for a couple of reasons. Fnatic, hyped through the roof, smashing Europe, of course, this year, but you don't really know when it comes to these best of ones in groups. IG, such a hyped up team, should be the best team in that group, but last time we saw them internationally and with Rookie, it also went to the wayside. However, it looks like this is a different story. GRX seem to be able to do a lot of things when they get an early lead. 100 Thieves, same story if they get a good game. So I don't know. You guys make sense of it to me.
With Invictus Gaming, the international audience will not know them very well because you're right, the last time they saw them internationally was when they had Cacao as a jungler.
A long time ago.
It was quite a while back. So in the LPL, they were known as the most consistent team in the regular season. The regular season, they had some incredibly, like, their stats are crazy. In fact, they only lost 2 series out of both splits. And so that's something that we should watch out for, the fact that they're very crazy, incredibly bloody as a team. They'll fight you early. And so I have them coming out at the top of the group. I have them coming out first.
Rightfully so, I believe.
So I think this is actually the most fun group probably to watch for just a general Western audience because you finally get EU and NA fighting for something that kind of matters in a sense where it feels like in Group A and Group C, they're not in there against each other. Group B, it feels like, all right, we'll have fun battling for third. But Fnatic and 100 Thieves hopefully feel like they're both actually battling for second a little bit. I think Perks versus Rookie is going to be insane to watch just in general as well.
You did this. You did it again.
I always
this man.
Do you know
the
difference between Caps
You're just trying to tilt
Yes.
Fox. I know you're trying to.
I'm not trying to.
You keep doing
It just comes out too much.
Yeah.
Caps versus Rookie is going to be super duper fun to watch.
Yeah, it will be. So, in summary, IG, strongest team, should be #1. Is it then a 2-horse race or a 3-horse race? Because I don't think we should count out GRX just yet.
I was about to say that GRX and 100 Thieves are turning out to be great team fighters. And if that's what's going to be coming through from both 100 Thieves and GRX, the issue is that Invictus Gaming as a squad tend to change everything, or at least really start to falter versus team fighting. Versus the ARAM playstyle of 100 Thieves, I think that's going to be an issue.
Yeah, I think the other problem for both GRX and 100 Thieves is Fnatic, despite not having like great gold leads, you know, so you're like, oh, they're not a great early game team. They're actually fantastic at closing games out, and that's my concern if I'm a 100 Thieves fan is like, we're best in the mid to late game, and Fnatic's usually closing it out by then. So you don't feel like you have a great matchup in your own group against IG or Fnatic. GRX you do have a good matchup against, but you're going to have to find some wins elsewhere.
So, $1 million question. Up until now, we've got LPL, Korea, and LMS getting out of the groups. That's it. Tell me who your two teams are for this team.
IG Fnatic, I am sorry, NA, I did not predict anyone to get out. My B.
For me, I have Invictus Gaming and,
He's looking for a controversial opinion again because he's usually right.
He's got some good profit.
He's actually
sometimes
really good at predicting what will happen.
You need like the cosmic energy to come to you. Like what's channeling?
I think this is like
I'm sorry for anybody,
hat. It's almost a curse.
For anybody that watches reads my Twitter, I'm probably gonna flip flop at some point because 100 Thieves always gets me as a team because they're the team that got memed the most with so many question marks, but obviously came to Korea and started boot camping as a team. So I think they have a much higher high that they're showing. That being said, IG Fnatic.
Yeah. I think this represents well how, with like all the hype and Fnatic and whatnot, you never freaking know in a best-of-1 group stage, and crazier things have happened. I also put a lot of stock into Aframu personally, because he's kind of like this guy, you know, at MSI with CLG, they made it all the way to the final. I'm very happy that he's back on the international stage.
Yeah, Aframu's leadership, but I think that like there are going to be some key roles to look at. top lane has Someday and the Shy. I think Someday should have some great games for 100 Thieves. And then if you look towards Soaz, I think obviously the top laner is a big point. And then if you look towards the mid lane, you already mentioned Caps versus Rookie. So there are so many iconic matchups to watch in this group if you have any interest there. And then I think PK and Candy will come into their own once they get into this group. People have already seen a sneak peek of their play during the play-in group stage. So there are a lot of great individual matchups that should convert into a win for some.
We can talk about this forever, and I'm definitely super, super hyped for that. And if you wanted to know my vote, I think IG and Fnatic are going to get out because, like, duh.
Come on.
If you wanted to meme that, whatever. However, you mentioned a couple of those players that were doing great, and there were a lot of standout performances. If we pull up our MasterCard players of the game, why are you giggling?
My producer joked in my ear about something.
Oh, there we go.
About never mind. So for GRX versus SuperMassive, they were Snowflower, Stitch twice, and then PK on Ornn. So there we go.
Yeah, Stitch had some great games. And I think the one with Snowflower could have gotten 2 games because his Rakan really came out ahead. So
it tells the story of the series very well, though.
Exactly. The bottom lane was a primary focus in the end game. The last one, PK off of his Ornn pick. So I think that a lot of the games did come down toward the bottom lane, and the tank ended up winning, I suppose.
Yeah.
That's how that story ends.
We do have to go the other MasterCard players. You can talk in seconds. So
okay.
Here, it's there.
You got nothing, son.
For
I'm taking the
G2 Esports
tap.
versus Infinity, I'm sorry, I just want to like get this out there so that you can talk about what you like. Arce, Jankos, Wonder, and Hjarnan. This also kind of paints the picture of what happened, you know. Arce and Infinity with that awesome game 1, then Jankos with the strong early game, Wonder with the Urgot all over, and Hjarnan in the end carrying the game. So there we go.
Yeah, and I think Wonder definitely performed super well every single game. Huge CS leads, probably player of the series, but at different points, other people had more impactful games, I guess, in the turnout, and especially that last game, Hjarnan really silencing a lot of people with a very good Jhin performance.
And I cut you off before, so what would you like to say?
I was going to say the second series just, I thought the meta that developed was something we can expect to see more of over the group stage, where it felt like a lot of the other ones were like, here's Aatrox, Urgot, let's try and play some shenanigans and see what counters them, and then they were both just like, no, ban, play other things.
To that point, I think that the series we just mentioned too, where Hjarnan got onto the Jhin pick, and that really started to play through. When you got to see more of the Jhin playing out, in the which is a good counter, or at least you can play into the Kai'Sa with that. Good range there. If you have a bruiser top lane or an assassin mid, then you can really start to play through mid towards the bottom lane. There is a good adaptation that I know a lot of the teams in the main stage will be watching and start to be picking ideas.
Yeah, it's always the question if you come to that first game, if they're like going to play kind of their own meta, what they did with their scrim partners, if they're going to take things from play-in, if we're going to see some things completely different. It's always very exciting. And the play-ins were also plenty exciting. A lot of explosive moments transpired. You also made sure to tweet out which were large enough to be deemed an Acer Predator big play. First up, Trichromatic had a lovely poem to describe his feelings towards the C9 support. C9 is blue, Gambit is red, Zazal's a beast. I'm going to bed. I feel you, buddy.
Let's hit it. Yeah, okay.
We can look at I can't tank that easily, so Shen.
Wait, Shen can
Do we want to
tank,
look the turret?
Yeah.
Just turn it Olaf.
He has no flash, right?
Yeah,
no
I'm
flash.
looking. I'm turning.
Looking here. Yeah.
I got it. Finish him. Finish him. Mouse, guys.
It was very far away the screen, so I couldn't exactly see what
It was his famous flash play.
Oh, yeah.
It won them the game 5.
Yes, it did. Sorry. There's been like 42 games. Excuse me for that.
Can't remember all of them.
No. Next up, Sir Ordinary figured Zeitnot wasn't fine settling with a quadra kill in game 1 versus GRX.
Stillmage getting knocked back, almost drunk under the table on that one by the explosive cast. Zeitnot's on the bottom of the fight. He starts off real quick with 1. Stitch forced to back out. There's the double kill already as Zeitnot continues to pile it on. The shock and awe from SuperMassive is just too much for GRX. Fabulous not stopping for the turret this time. There's the Quadra. Oh my God, the Quadra into a penta for Zeitnot.
I believe that is the only time at Worlds someone got a triple kill, a quadra kill, and a pentakill. I stole this from Jat. We were trying to double check it. Not 100% confirmed, so if I'm wrong, tweet at Jat.
Yeah.
But
Aren't you Jat? Who are you?
I'm the budget Jat.
There we go.
Oh, God. Okay, last one. Finally, Robert's number 49 said what we were all thinking. What an outplay by G2 Wonder.
I want to do it, okay? I want to.
You're gonna die, it's fine.
You just stop blue blank, buddy. You just stop blue blank. You can tank and stop blue blank. Okay. I'm gonna 1v2.
Okay.
Nice, good job.
Push me, Zin died.
You look to fight now as well, yeah? I'll push top, I can buff the way.
Holy shit. Too bad, okay, they'll move to bot, they'll try to look.
I read on social that we apparently didn't give enough credit to Wonder for the outplay specifically. Because I remember we were watching and you said, well, yeah, it was an outplay, but actually Aatrox could have also killed Urgot.
I mean, it's true. Like, if you just press R, like I said, at the top of the day, you get the bonus AD at that point, which is pretty massive, and you probably kill him right away. But Wonder did have to play that super well to punish the fact that he wasn't doing that.
Yeah, the entire series, too, I felt like Wonder was the standout performer for G2. So give him Urgot. Give him Aatrox.
Don't do that.
Keep giving it to him.
If you're watching,
if you're a G2 fan.
Group A.
Yeah. There you go. I don't know if they're watching us. Well, who knows? Anyway, make sure that you guys are tweeting with that hashtag #BigPlays all tournament long so that we don't miss a single one of the big moments of Worlds 2018. So then, we return Wednesday, October 10th at 1 a.m. PST, 10 a.m. CEST with the Worlds group stage in Busan. And look at that schedule. Man, you know, we thought we already had a lot of action, but it's really all kicking off now. KT versus Team Liquid is our first game.
So don't go to sleep. I'm just talking about the people in North America, 1 a.m., just so you could watch Team Liquid versus KT. Just get a view of that one.
I agree. And then EDG versus Mad, Boom Boom Buffalo. I'm going to get it someday. Flash Wolves, and then Africa Freaks versus G2 Esports, RNG Cloud9, Gen G Vitality. It's like Christmas, isn't it? World group stage.
And I think you're going to see a lot of interesting things early on, especially Group A. I'm actually really interested in the Fung Vu Buffalo matchup versus Flash Wolves because I want to see if the hype that we're hearing behind the scenes lives up for both of these teams, and that should answer it right away, not just like who wins, but how the actual game looks in terms of skill level.
Is there an upset on day one?
For sure. Like, I has to be
Call it.
Oh my goodness.
I have to
you
see
know
the
what?
schedule again.
All right, you know what? I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm saying it. I'm not gonna say who it is. I'm not gonna. You're just gonna have to tune in to my pick'ems. You know, but I think that
plug in yourself.
What's going to be real fun, I think it's going to happen at the back end because that's when we're going to see Group B playing out their games. And I would love to see Cloud9 versus RNG, Vitality. I think those are the ones that are really spicy. That once again, I said that we're not going to be seeing 0 and 6 in that group. We may still see the top of it, like Gen G and RNG are still the best in that one, but I still think there's a lot of fighting in the bottom half.
Yeah, so everyone call in sick Tuesday.
Yep.
Or Monday morning when the games end, your boss will probably be in work. You can call up. I can't come in. I was watching LOL all night.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, there we go. I'd also like to thank you two, by the way, for being my analysts. You know, it was not as scary as I thought working with an NA analyst, Mark.
You've worked with NA analysts before. What do you mean?
I'm just kidding. I'm working in because people say I bully you, which I don't. I just want to thank you both. Raz, lovely as always, and Mark Z also, yeah, fantastic job. I hope we entertained you guys at home as well. We definitely had a lot of fun and just fun covering all of the teams. It were some fantastic storylines, but that's going to do it from us for Play. And so for myself, the casters, the entire live broadcast crew, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in Busan for groups.